It's the first public arboretum in North America, founded in 1872. And it's about a mile long. It's this beautiful piece of green in the middle of a city. And you can look around and you can imagine without the trees an old farm, old agricultural land that had kind of been worn out. And someone had this dream, this inspiration of making it into something that would live forever in the city. James Arnold was a whaling merchant down in New Bedford, and when he died, he left his estate to create essentially a public space of plants and to be studied and to be appreciated around a theme of an arboretum. And when the money came, it was partnered with the land, which actually came to Harvard in 1842. So there'd been land here for 30 years, nothing going on. And then James Arnold, his will, leaves this money to create this institution. And it's brought to Harvard, partnered with the land, and the Arnold Arboretum is born.
Ready, and action! Go! Aren't we a vision, ma'am? Aren't we fun?
Can you look back at her, then look back at him again?
This is the first time anybody's ever filmed in the Arnold Arboretum. So it's really special that they allowed us to film here. I think part of the reason they were interested in is that the Louisa May Alcott story came out of the Transcendentalist movement, which really valued nature in the world and people's access to it. And the Arnold Arboretum was one of the first public parks made in the Boston area. Little Women is a treasure of American literature, but also a treasure for Boston and Massachusetts. And I think that the Arnold Arboretum was really excited to help be yet another of the many locations that really existed at the time of the story. Also, obviously, the cast of this film was superlative. Meryl Streep and Florence Pugh, a young actress from Oxford, England, filming in the Arboretum. That was very interesting to them. The fact also that we weren't dressing it to be downtown Boston or that we were playing it as a natural setting was meaningful.
We looked far and wide for locations for 1860s Paris, all over Boston, Massachusetts. As it turned out, it was a little difficult. When we found the Arnold Arboretum, we knew we had found the right place. It has a certain timeless, because it's a collection and not a native grouping of plants and trees. And it is a collection, and it is a living museum. It has a different look, and I think it has a look that fit European, like the aesthetic of a planned park.
As part of a university, this would have been a place where you can think about forestry, you can think about plant diversity, you can think about a whole set of things that were being studied in the late 1800s, still are. What makes this unique is it's not just Harvard. When it was originally Harvard Land and Money, Charles Sprague Sargent, the first director, partnered up with Frederick Law Olmsted at the height of his powers to create an institution that they designed not to be private, to be Harvard's institution of learning, but shared as a public space with everyone and free every day. What you're really seeing is a reflection back to the very time when Little Women and the scenes that you're talking about were being thought through. And it's no sort of coincidence that in a sense you're filming a scene in Paris here, because in many ways this city and its designers were looking to Europe to create these spaces that were of a comparable nature to much older cities in Europe. So it's an amazing thing to think about, that piece of history in Boston.
Amy! Amy Marsh! Oh my, you are so grown! I was there, I couldn't find where you were. I looked. Oh my God, I didn't recognize you. You're so beautiful, Amy. Yeah.
One of my favorite things when we come into a location like this is when groups from two completely different worlds come together in a symbiotic, like perfect moment that everyone, whether it's the film crew or whether it's the staff of the Arboretum, can look at each other and go, wow, that was awesome.
When I started to think about Little Women And again, it's part of a period of Boston and New England history that we share in terms of birth. And I think in the moment, it's also something that's deeply important in terms of women and thinking this Me Too sort of generation and movement to celebrate something that's deeply embedded in New England history that has affected so many women. One of the things I've been having a lot of conversations with people who grew up on this book, reading it time after time after time. And it reminded me that probably this will be the only time we ever have a filming at the Arnold Arboretum, at least as long as I'm around. It just matched so many things that made it feel like it was the right thing to do, and that we would want this institution to be sort of part of a broader discussion, not just the movie, but a broader discussion of what it means to have nature in the background. The movie part is exciting, but really what people are doing is they're starting to think about what this book means in their lives.